Hi, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to give you a few ideas for using floral books in your junk journals and things that you can do with them. These are 3 of my books from my junk journal library, which means I'm going to be tearing them apart, or I'm in the process of tearing them apart and using them in my journals. And I just wanted to talk about a couple of different ways I use them. So I'm going to start with this one. I started using this one last week. It's called the Concise Illustrated Book of Roses. And here's what I made. I'm a proponent of very simple. I just made some tags with some vintage cardstock, and I just cut out, see, these pages have these photos, but then they also have illustrations. So I would choose a flower and then I would cut it in half, fussy cut it out, and glue it on. So as you can see, that would have been a full flower there. So that's something you can do to just, you're making 2 things with 1 flower. Super simple. Just add a little lace to the top or just slip it in a journal somewhere. So these are what I made with that. They were so much fun. I just did them in an evening when my hands wanted something to do, but my brain didn't want to think. So also, I just cut out some of these and put them in my stash. You can also, these are wonderful pages for folding in half, because if you look at folding it in half, if you look at putting that in a journal, it would be oriented the right way and perfectly, and you have lots of different information and an image on every side. So that's something really neat to look for when you are looking for used books. You can also use bits and pieces of the text as background. That's fun. And then this one, I really enjoy this one, 100 Flowers and How They Got Their Names. I've been using these because I like when there's not a whole lot of colors, when it's just like one color, like this green with the black. And it's just, if you take one out like this, the California Poppy, it's complete on these 2 pages. And it's a perfect size, so you can just fold it in half, maybe grab a tag, clip it on the side of a journal, and then you have a whole little bit of information that they can read or they can tear apart and use for collage. So that's fun as well. You can cut these parts out. When you're picking books, especially floral books, you want to think about how many different ways can you use it. These ones are pretty small, so yes, you could stick it as a page in a journal, but like you have no picture here, no picture here, no picture here, and then you have a little bit of a picture here, which is still absolutely fine, and it would be better in probably a traveler's notebook journal because it is a smaller page. But you can also take like cardstock like this, and you can cover the tag with it like that. So you want to think about how many pages in the book can you actually use. For this one, as you can see, each one has a different flower, a different image, so you can use this book over and over and over again, like I have been. Also, check out the cover when you're picking used books, because look at how beautiful this cover is. I can turn that into a junk journal once I finished using the pages. So I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of this book. And of course, this book is $16.95, but since it's an older book and I got it used, I did not pay that. It's $19.97. Definitely when you're looking for flower books, look for books from like the 80s and 90s, because nobody really wants them anymore. They either want the vintage books or they want a current book. And so these are just kind of like sitting everywhere, but yet they are an absolute gold mine for images. And then this one, now this is a vintage book, and this I pay a little bit more for. There's 134 paintings in full color. I think this is from the 60s. Yes, it's from the 60s. And you can tell because the color scheme is different. The paper is different. It is absolutely gorgeous. These pages are pure gold. So even if you have to pay a little bit more for them, you're getting a ton. And for these books, they're so, to me, even though you can get them many different places, they can be hard to find. Can you believe it only cost $1 back in the 60s? I paid more for that now, and I thought that was a good price. I paid $3.50 for this, which is a good price. But yeah, it would be nice to just get it for $1. So if you can pick these up, even if they cost, you know, a few to several dollars, I definitely think they're worth it. If you have, here's a tip. If you have a chunk of change, meaning if you can get $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $100 that you're willing to invest in books like this, go to eBay and look for floral or nature field guide book lots. And I have not done that because it is expensive. I would like to have the money to do that, but you can get, you know, maybe 60 something books for, or 20 books for, you know, a good chunk of change, and then you'd be set. These pages I like to keep in their entirety and use them as bookmarks or journal cards or just little information. I think what's really neat with junk journals, and my pen pal Mandy, you hear me talk about her a lot, she has so inspired me to actually put real information into the books. These books are beautiful, but I am going more and more and more into the direction of my handmade journals being useful and educational. So, you know, just having this in here is absolutely beautiful, but then you can read about the spider flowers, you can read about the orchids, and you learn something, and then you've given your customer or your friend, whoever you're making the journal for, you've given them a piece of paper that they can then turn and collage and make things with. So I definitely am going the route of simple, useful, educational. I think that that becomes a lot more timeless than some of these journals that are jam-packed every inch with something to look at. And I think those are beautiful as in works of art, but they're kind of hard to use. Anyway, I know I've just been rambling, but I wanted to show you a little bit of my thought process for picking out floral books and using the book pages. Now, I want to just show you some of the floral books, some of the books that I have left in my shop for sale if you would like to purchase one. And I have a coupon code for you guys. So if you look in the description box below, the coupon code is used books, and that's 25% off any of the books or magazines in my shop. It only works on the books or magazines. But 25% off any of those. So I'm just going to show you a couple here that I have not touched. I have not ripped into these yet. You guys better buy them for me before I do. But this one, I'm going to explain a little bit. I've shown flip-throughs a little bit of these in a previous video, but that video was extremely long and it had like dozens of books. So these are some of the ones that are left, and I just wanted to show you maybe a little bit better. Look at, this was originally $17.95. All right, so this is 100 Orchids for the American Gardener, and I was initially drawn to it because of its size. It's very long, very tall, and rather narrow. And then this was the main reason I wanted to get it for you guys, are these full pages here of these orchids, and there's page after page after page of them. So these are absolutely incredible to fold in half and stick in a journal. Also, I think probably the #1 way I would want to use these would be turning them into little envelope pouches, because if you fold it here and you fold it here like into thirds and then you stitch or glue to make a pouch, you have a perfect floral pouch because of the size of it. You don't have to trim it down or anything like that. So there are so many pages like this. These flowers are incredible. I definitely would love to use these in my journal, but I have to say no at some point because I have lots of books that I am working through. And so there's well over 200 pages in this book. In the beginning, before we get into all the big pictures of the orchids, there's just some basic botanical information on orchids and still lots of pictures to cut out and collage and use in your journals. But so there's this one. And then I still have Best Loved Garden Plants. And I loved this one too. You guys are leaving me with the ones I really wanted, so don't do that. This is a hardback as well. And I absolutely love the pictures in this one. There are so many. And what I love about this, and this is something you want to look for if you can't buy too many books, is you have photos and illustrations. So it gives you a variety all in one book. So you have things you can cut out that are photos. You have like more of a vintagey type illustration. This is actually, oh, that's cool. This is called an Edith Holden rose. That's really awesome. Anyway, there's little tiny images, so you can do collages and things like that. And then there's big ones to do envelopes, and yikes, some of these pages are stuck together, to do envelopes, to do journal cards and things like that. And then you have the gorgeous illustrations. So there is so much in this book, well over 200 pages, all different. Look at that page. Oh my goodness, I'm in love with this book, you guys. But like I said, I can't keep all of them, and I want to share some of the beautiful things with you guys as well. So the coupon code will be 25% off these as well. Look at that. And I just, you know, think about how many pages are in these. When you have well over 200 pages, I mean, imagine getting a paper pad. Go to Hobby Lobby and get a 200 and something page paper pad with all sorts of cut aparts and everything. So that's kind of how I look at it, and that's how I use my books. And I really think my journals are the richer for it, because as much as I love generic paper pads, you know, pretty much anybody can get their hands on those paper pads, and you see the same paper lines over and over again. But when you find a book like this that's from, I don't know when this is from, the 1990s, the 1996-ish, not very many people are actually going to be using this particular book in their journals probably. So yeah, I'm just loving looking at it. So I hope you like looking at it with me, because I'm just taking it. Oh, look at that. That is so gorgeous. These are foxgloves. And then there's hybrid musk roses. Look at how gorgeous. I would just love to cover a tag in this and then have like a lace cover over it. Ugh. Just relaxing this Saturday morning, looking at books with you guys. Yeah. All right, so there's that one. I guess this video is going to be longer than I intended it to be. I still have this pocket guide to annuals, and I love to pick up pocket guides because they're usually really fat. Like we have over 300 pages, but the pages are small and they're nice to make journal cards out of. These are just perfect sizes. You cut them out, back them with coffee dyed paper, voila. And then you have gorgeous backgrounds. And then if you're making like traveler's notebooks, folding one of these pages in half is absolutely perfect for that. Or mini journals, some peppers. That'd be good for a cooking journal. But all these different types of flowers. I mean, I doubt it would be hard to use all these pages in your own journals because there's just so many of them. But you can share. If you like doing Happy Mail, you can send some of the pages to your friends as well, if you're doing journal swaps and things like that. If you have, here's a tip for an Etsy shop owner. If you're an Etsy shop owner and you sell journal supplies or paper crafting supplies, be on the lookout for books that you can get at a good deal and then part out for pages. So what I mean is, say you purchased this book, and it's 300 and something pages. You could separate it into bundles of 20 and just give a variety, tie it with a really pretty ribbon, you know, maybe hang a charm or a boho bead or something on it, and charge a few dollars for the pack of 20. And whatever you spend on this, you're going to wind up making money off of. So sometimes that is a great option as well if you can do the math in your head and you know people would want to buy them. So I still have that one, and then I still have shrub roses and climbing roses. Oh my goodness, how did I not keep this one? I guess I just found so many amazing ones. Look at these images. I go to this used bookstore that's a little bit of a drive from me, so I don't get to go that often, but I look for ones that I would love, and then I get them for you guys. And I don't have time when I'm there to look through every page. I literally pick it up, I go like this, and I go, oh yeah, I'd like that, and I buy it. I don't have time to look through it all, so that's why when I get home and I do these flip throughs with you guys, I'm oohing and awing over all the pages because I haven't seen them all. Look at those colors. Ugh. And if you love roses and you love shabby chic, you definitely want these images in your journal. So beautiful. And this one's a little older. Well, this is the early 90s, but it still has a little bit more of a vintage feel to it. And these are nice, heavy papers. I don't have too many left, I don't think. Let me pop my head down here and see. Okay, that is all that I have for floral books left. There are a few, I have a few kids books left and magazines and stuff like that the coupon code works with as well, but you can just check that out in my shop. I'm not going to do a flip through. This is just floral. So I only have 4 floral books left. Once these sell, I want to plan another trip to the used bookstore to get another huge lot for you guys in the next couple weeks. So hopefully next week, maybe the week after, probably the week after. So, but I want to clear all of them out because I only have so much room to store these books. And if I'm going to drive all the way to this used bookstore, I really want to get a lot of books. Otherwise, it's not really worth the time. So clear these out for me, you guys. Use that coupon code. Most of them have already sold. Like I said, there's just a few little treasures and gems. And what kind of surprises me, these were some of my favorites that are left. So I don't know if they just got lost in, I did such a huge haul. But some of these, especially these, I mean, this one's amazing, but I have some books like this already. But these 3 books really stand out to me. I don't have something exactly like these in my stash. So to me, these are really special. So I hope that someone special gets them. And another fun thing, I'm sorry, I'm just really rambly today. If you, like I said, do Happy Mail and Swap Mail, these, I do not charge that much for them. They're, especially with the coupon code, they're fairly reasonable. And then the shipping cost does not go up on the books. You're still going to pay the same shipping cost if you buy 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. So what you could do is, buy 2 or 3 or even all 4 of these, and you're only paying the $3 in shipping. I cover the rest of it. And what you can do is keep 1 or 2 for yourself and then send a whole book in some Happy Mail. And I got this idea from Mandy as well. There's been a couple times when she sent me my pen pal letter and some Happy Mail, she's included an entire book in there. And I don't know if you have ever received a complete book in the mail as Happy Mail, but that is true Happy Mail if you are a junk journaler, because it is nice to get a couple pages, but when you get a book, that feeling is just super special. I know because Mandy's made me feel that way multiple times. She's just put a book in there and it's like, wow, you sent me this whole book. I mean, you didn't keep any pages for yourself. So it's just amazing. And if you are just sending the book without anything else, just the book, then you could even ship it media mail and save on shipping, and then maybe just have a letter in a separate little envelope or something like that with a stamp on it and explaining what's coming. Anyway, enough rambling. I have talked enough. I meant this video to be 5 to 8 minutes long, and it's going on 19. So I hope you all have a lovely Saturday. I'll see you in the next video.